Alex and Jordan are in grave danger. They both find themselves stranded on a deserted island. They've been without food or water for over 4 days now, and probably won't last too much longer. Take a look at these images. If you have any clue which one of them will get out of there alive, let us know. Jordan, the guy on the left, has a way to survive this whole thing. He's taking shelter under a coconut tree. He can simply open up the coconut and he'll have some food and water to get him by until some rescue team shows up. Matt, Zach, and Brian booked a helicopter ride for a day. As soon as they took off and were flying above the ski resort, they saw 2 ladies in danger. But since they only had 1 seat left in the helicopter, they could only help one of the girls. Take a look at them. You've got to tell us which of these ladies you think really need saving. Drop a comment below. It's the lady on the left, hanging on the top of the cliff. She can fall at any moment. The other lady can slide down the slope without her skiing poles, that's for sure. It's time to see the dentist again. Both Nan and John have appointments to get rid of their cavities. What they don't know is that a maniac criminal has kidnapped one of the dentists and is passing as him. Take a look at the images. Tell us below who you think should run out of that office ASAP. Nan is the one in danger. Look, behind there is a jar with human ears floating in some weird liquid. That guy is definitely not a real dentist. 2 motorbikers are riding down the street at full speed. One of them is about to hit a crossing where a lot of school kids pass, and the other is doing tricks like putting his hands up in the air. Use your intuition here and tell us who is in real danger. It's the guy heading to the crossing. If he doesn't slow down, he'll probably hurt himself, the lady that's riding with him, and the kids. Barbara has a temperamental pit bull. It's known to attack the occasional stranger, so she makes sure to put a mouth guard on her dog. Stevie also has a pit bull who has never attacked anyone, so she usually lets him off the leash. Take a look at the pictures. Be the quickest one here to tell us your guess. Which dog poses a real threat to strangers? It's the dog without the leash, of course. Animals are too unpredictable, and just because he hasn't attacked anyone before doesn't mean he won't. Pat should be considered a national hazard. He puts himself and others in pretty dangerous situations while being completely clueless about it. In the first case, he's lighting a match while there's gasoline spilled on the floor. In the second case, he's holding a sword pointed at a young lady. Take a good look at the pictures and give your best shot guessing who's in more danger. He's in danger in the first scenario, of course, plus all the other people in the gas station. Jane was running late for her date, so she decided to blow dry her hair while she was taking a bath. Jake was so stressed from work that he decided to take a relaxing bath while finishing his work for the day. Hurry, Give us your take below on who is probably going down the drain on this one. It's Jane. Her blow dryer is plugged into the source, and it's never a good idea to mix water and electronic devices, right? Jim and Andrew were taken to the hospital for an operation the same day a burglar escaped prison. They had no idea, but one of them was in a life-threatening situation. The burglar was planning on stealing all their belongings once the anesthetics kicked in. Take a look at this bizarre scenario and give us your 2 cents about this debacle. Although the doctor on the right has mud on his pants, look at the guy on the left. He is not wearing gloves. Plus, you can still see part of his name tag from his time in prison. Oh boy. Matthew and Simon are adrenaline seekers. Their favorite hobby is walking on tight ropes, hanging on top of cliffs. Take a look at both images and share your guess on who is in real danger this time. It's Simon, the one on the right. Although Matthew is having a hard time to find balance, he is securely fastened. But in Simon's case, he forgot to clip himself to the rope. So if he loses balance for just one bit, he'll fall down and go boom. Oh no! Patricia and Lillian are also into some radical sports. They decided to go bungee jumping in New Zealand, but one of them is in grave danger. Take a look at the images and don't hesitate to share your answer with us below. Uh-oh. It looks like Patricia decided to bungee jump without shoes, and the straps around her feet can slip off any second. She could seriously hurt herself. There are 2 Supermen flying around town saving people, but one of them is hurting more people than helping. Take a look at the image. Stop anything else you're doing now and share your take on who's in danger here. The guy on the right, he's not a real Superman. For starters, the S on his suit is the other way around. Plus, he's got some blood on his hands. I don't even want to know why. Lily and Matt were traveling around Asia and decided to book a spa appointment. They had no idea what they were getting into, but one of them might actually be in grave danger. Take a look at the images and find the imposter before it's too late. Don't keep the answer to yourself, though. Let us know below. Lily got lucky. She just got a normal acupuncture session. But Matt is in danger. The guy put venomous snakes and spiders on top of him. That's not safe at all. Understatement.
Oh no.
Margaret left school and went straight to the ice cream truck to get herself a scoop. Right in front of the truck, there was an old man offering his ice cream to the people passing by. Judy left class earlier to meet her brother at the park. When she arrived at the park, she ran into a friend of her father. He looked very happy to see her and offered her a lollipop. Take a look at both of these pictures and hurry up to figure out who's in danger here. Do share it with us, though. none of the girls are in danger. But the guy offering a lollipop to Judy is in grave danger. There's a snake trying to coil on his legs. That's never a good sign. Sam was late for work, so he decided to take a shortcut that went through the train tracks. Becky was feeling kind of sad, so she decided to go for a walk around the same area. What they didn't know was that the new electric train didn't make any noise, and it was passing by around the same time they were crossing the tracks. Put on your detective hat and figure out who is in real danger here. It's Sam. Becky has her sunglasses on, but she can see the train coming. Sam has really dark bangs covering his eyes and is wearing headphones. He probably won't be able to detect the train is coming. Derek and Lola went out for a dinner date. They ordered food and drinks and were ready to dig in when they noticed something was off. We need you to be swift here and figure out which one of them is in real danger. Share your thoughts below. It's Derek. His soft drink looks a bit too greenish, don't you think?
Oh God.
One day, Marcus was going home from work. There was a blackout in the city and everything was shrouded in darkness. Suddenly, he heard footsteps. Someone was rushing behind him. He started to turn around to check, and that's when the world around him went totally black. Marcus came to his senses in a basement, dimly lit by several candles. There were 3 doors before him. Behind the first door, hungry zombies were waiting for their next meal. Behind the second door, a fire was raging. And the third door hid a mess of bare electric wires. Now, you're the only one who can save Marcus. Write in the comments which door he should choose right away. As you might remember, there's a blackout in the city, so electrical wires are totally harmless at the moment. Marcus should slip through the third door. Strangely enough, the guy found himself in a barber shop. After staring at the scene in front of his eyes for a moment, he realized that one of his clients was in grave danger. Write who it is in the comments below and prove yourself to be as smart as Marcus. Marcus spotted that the red-haired hairdresser had mistaken a bug spray for a hairspray. But once he opened his mouth to warn the client, the entire room vanished into thin air. It was just a hologram. Was someone playing with Marcus? The guy went further. At one point, he turned around the corner and a freezing gust of wind hit him in the face. Marcus was outside and it was winter all around. Behind his back, there was no building, just snowdrifts and dark trees. The man could only move straight ahead. There were 3 paths ahead of him, but the one on the left led through the den of hungry wolves. To follow the one in the middle, Marcus would have to pass by a family of bears. And the right path went over a frozen lake covered with thin ice. The guy is freezing. Help him in the comments as fast as you can. Marcus should choose the path in the middle. It's winter, and bears kind of hibernate during this season. The guy is quiet, he won't wake them up, and will get out of the forest safely. And indeed, Marcus managed to escape danger and soon spotted a house hidden among the trees. But only after he entered did he realize it was a very strange and creepy house. The main clue was 4 doors in front of the guy. Behind door number 1, there was a room filled with piranha-infested water. Door number 2 hit a mountain slope. When someone stepped on it, an avalanche came hurtling down. Behind door 3, There were electric wires hanging low above the floor and some wet stains on the floor. And behind door number 4, there was nothing but a small room with just one window on the 58th floor, nothing else. Write your pick in the comments below faster than the other Brightside detectives. Marcus should walk through door 3. Since the wires don't actually touch the floor, the guy will be able to bend and crawl to the other exit. Unfortunately, whoever was testing Marcus's survival skills didn't want to make life easy for the guy. The door leading out of the room was locked and had 4 keyholes. There were also 4 keys hanging on the wall next to it. If Marcus wanted to get out of the room, he had to match the keyholes and the keys. If you can help him crack this tough task, comment "I can" below the video. Look at the bows of these keys. They all have openings with different numbers of edges. And the trick here is that the number of edges should meet the code number under each keyhole. Marcus was finally out of that scary room, but his adventures were far from over. Of all places, he found himself in a jail canteen. To get past these inmates, he needed to figure out which of them was the wealthiest. Can you help Marcus? The man on the left is a chef. That's why he has a special meal. The guy in the middle has some gold jewelry, but it's unlikely it can help him a lot in jail. As for the man on the right, he has a smartphone hidden in his pocket. And in prison, such a gadget means the ability to communicate with the outside world. So he must be the most influential and richest among them. But if you disagree, write your opinion in the comments. Poor Marcus. To get out of the jail canteen, he needed to choose the safest exit. But all of them seemed equally terrifying. The first one led to the den of a horrible dragon. The second to a room filled with boiling lava. And to get to the third room, Marcus would have to sneak through flesh-cutting laser beams. Well, that's a tough choice. Tell Marcus in the comments which way he should pick. The safest way is probably to sneak through the third exit. It's not going to be a walk in the park, but at least those laser beams are not moving. The next place Marcus found himself was in a battle area. Apparently, that mysterious force that was playing with him had notched the game. 3 creatures were waiting for the guy, and he needed to fight one of them to survive. The first monster had the head of a rattlesnake and the body of a giant ferret. The second one had the body of a gorilla and the head of an alligator. And the third creature had the face and body of a great white shark and the tail and claws of a bear. Which monster should Marcus choose? Share your wisdom in the comments. The first 2 monsters are likely to be extremely dangerous opponents. Imagine how agile and venomous the snake ferret might be. And the gorilla gator is certainly too strong for Marcus to defeat. As for the shark bear, well, since sharks have gills and can't breathe on land, the guy will just need to wait a bit, and this opponent will get out of his way on his own. Once everything was over, Marcus was transported to a dimly lit room. A bizarre-looking family was in front of him. Marcus had to figure out which member of this family was possessed by a ghost. Being as observant as he was, he soon found the answer. And how observant are you? Write in the comments. Admittedly, this woman looks kind of scared, but she's not possessed. She's choked on some food and can't breathe. The man is wearing dark glasses, even though he's indoors. Suspicious. But he's blind. Do you see that white cane the blind use next to him? The granny is the one who is possessed. There's a trace of ectoplasm that goes through the whole room towards her. After successfully cracking the riddle, Marcus found himself in a jungle. After wandering for hours, he came to a place where the path split into 3 smaller trails. The first one led to an active volcano with red-hot lava bubbling in its crater. If Marcus chose the second path, he would get to a clearing swarming with venomous bats. And the third path ended in a swamp, swallowing everything and everybody that got there. If you know where the guy should go, tell him in the comments, please. Marcus chose the second path, since most bats are only active at night, plus they almost never attack humans, and found himself at home in his own bed. Was it just a creepy, very detailed dream? Write what you think about it. Yo-ho, I'm Captain Blackbeard. No, really! I lost my accent when I spent too much time in Virginia among the colonists. Anyway, I heard you want to join my pirate crew. Wait, not so fast. You have to complete my riddle quest to show you're worthy to be on my ship. I'll start easy. Tell me, a pirate that lost his shin when a saber took a chop would need this extra part or he would have to hop. What is it? The answer is a wooden leg. Arr. Here's my riddle to test your eyes. One of your duties as a pirate will be to spot the land from afar after all. Take a look at these 2 island maps. There are 3 differences. Can you find them quickly? The first one is the number of trees on the map showing the forest region are different. The second one is the mountain on the first map doesn't have snow on top, whereas the second one does. And the third one is the ship on the first map has 1 sail, but the ship on the second map has 2. Yo-ho! It's the President's Day sale! Lots of bargains. Good job! Now, I want to make sure you can distinguish friend from foe. Take a look at the wanted posters of these 3 pirates. One of them is truly wealthy, because he stole my treasure. Can you guess who it is? Don't be tricked by how rich the first 2 pirates are looking with their golden teeth, diamond jewelry, and jewel-encrusted swords. The truly wealthy pirate is pirate number 3. The map he's holding and the key necklace around his neck means that he hid his treasure and is the richest of them all. Well, it's time I test if you can get on well with the rest of my crew. Your future fellow pirate, Dumpsy, here, locked all his valuables inside this chest. But he got his key stolen by his frenemy, Alistair. See all the keys hanging from Alistair's jacket? Dumpsy can only steal one of them without getting noticed. Can you tell him which one will open his chest? It's key number 7. Helpful champ, but you're still not off my hook. See those card players there? They all have a card in front of them with a different number behind it. Can you guess each of them? The card players are actually giving you all the hints you need. For the first card, count how many times the first player taps the table. It's 3. The second number is 2 because there are 2 coins behind the card. The third number is 4 because the third player is holding out 4 fingers. The next is 6 because of the dice. And the last is 5 because the last player is trying to give you a high five. Ho-ho! Now, I'd better put your navigational skills to the test before I can trust you to sail our ship. 4 ghostly galleons, let's call them Nautilus, Poseidon, Calypso, and Siren, sail on a ghostly sea so foggy that visibility is near 0. Each pursues its course steadily, changing neither its speed nor heading. Calypso collides with Siren amidships, but since they are ghostly galleons, they pass through each other with no damage nor changing course. As they part, Siren's captain hears Calypso's say, "That's our third collision this night." A little while later, Poseidon runs into Siren amidships, and Siren's captain hears the same outburst from Poseidon's. Here is the course of each galleon. What can Siren's captain do to avoid a third collision and yet reach his original destination, whatever it may be, and why will doing that succeed? To avoid the collision with Nautilus, the captain of Siren can just chill for a bit before moving on. How long? Well, that depends on how much time passed between the earlier collisions with Calypso and Poseidon. Alternatively, he could swing onto the path Poseidon came from, which is all clear now, and after a short bit, cut back to his own route. Another important riddle. Answer this, and with us, you'll set sail. Look at the treasure map I have here. The pirate who buried this treasure on the island below years ago left a few cryptic clues. Can you use them to find its location? Here are the clues. An even number of squares marked X lie further east than the treasure. The treasure is not located at the X that is closest to the abandoned mine. If there are an even number of X's farther north than the treasure is located on one of the 4 small islands. If the treasure is on one of the 4 small islands, then the distance from the treasure to the nearest other X is greater than the distance from the pirate hut to the sunken ship. And lastly, if the treasure is on the biggest island, then one of the buildings is farther west than the treasure, and the other building is farther north than the treasure. Whew! Got that? From clue 1, you can rule out points A and G. From clue 2, you can eliminate C. From clue 3, you can eliminate E and I, which have even numbers of X's to their north but are on the Big Island. From clue 4, you can eliminate D and J. The distance from I to J is the same as the distance from the pirate hut to the sunken ship, and the distance from D to F is even less. You now know that the treasure must be buried at either B, F, or H. Of these, only H has buildings both to its north and to its west, so that's where the treasure is. Here's a bonus math riddle to see if I can entrust my gold to you once we claim it. 5 pirates are trying to split up 1,000 gold pieces. However, Pirate 1 must divide the gold in such a way that a majority of the pirates agree to. If he does not get the majority vote, he will be banished, and Pirate 2 will get to propose a solution to the remaining 3 pirates, and the same rules will follow. This will continue until someone comes up with a plan that earns a majority vote. What is the most amount of gold pieces that Pirate 1 can keep to himself, and what would his proposal be? Here's a hint. Start backwards and try to think what would Pirate 4's options be if the first 3 pirates were banished. Now, if there were 2 pirates left, no matter what 4 proposes, 5 will disagree and get all the gold. Say there are 3 pilots left. 4 has to agree with whatever 3 decides, because otherwise 5 will get all the gold. Then 3 can propose to keep 999 gold pieces for himself and give 1 gold piece to 4, who will accept it as it is better than getting nothing. And since the majority vote is achieved, the proposal will pass. What if there are 4 pirates left? 3 won't support 2's proposal because he knows he will get to keep the majority of the gold if it fails. Knowing this, 4 and 5 will vote for 2's proposal if he gives them anything more than 0. Therefore, 2 will keep 998 gold pieces and give 4 and 5 each 1 gold. Now, let's wrap this up. Pirate 1 needs 2 other votes. He will not get a vote from 2 because he will get the majority of the gold if 1's plan fails. So 1 will offer 3 a gold piece, as 3 gets nothing in 2's plan. He will then offer 4 or 5 2 gold pieces, which is more than they would get with 2's plan. So 1 can end up with 997 gold pieces, with 3 getting 1 piece and 4 or 5 getting 2 pieces. Woo! Now, somewhere around here, my pirate accent is buried. Can you help me find it? Oops, that's another video. Arr.
Jenny went to her favorite coffee shop and bought a latte. After she put her stuff and her coffee on the table, she went to the restroom to wash her hands. But when she came back, her latte was gone. There were only 3 other customers in the cafe. Can you help Jenny figure out who drank her coffee? This guy here has the same latte cup, but there are ice cubes in it. He must be drinking iced coffee. This lady's cup on the table is too small. She must be having an espresso. But check out this guy. Even though he doesn't have any drinks on the table, he has a coffee mustache on his face. And Jenny's empty latte cup is inside the trash behind his table. Kenny, the beach guard, spotted 3 people arguing on the beach. They were all claiming they had found a gold necklace in the sand. Tom said, "I found it with my metal detector." Lisa said, "I found it in the ocean while swimming." And Mike said, "I was digging in the sand to make a sandcastle, and that's when I found the necklace." Kenny knew only one of them was telling the truth. Who really found the necklace? Tom said he found the necklace with his metal detector, but it's turned off. Lisa said she found the necklace while swimming, but it's dry, unlike Lisa's swimsuit. So it couldn't have just come out of the water. That means Mike is telling the truth. Greg was taking a stroll in a busy park, but then he realized his wallet had disappeared. He remembered 3 people had bumped into him earlier, and one of them must have stolen his wallet. The police brought all 3 of them to the station. The first lady said, "It wasn't me. I have no pockets to hide the wallet." The second lady said, "I was only chasing after my dog." And the third guy said, "Look at my pockets. I have nothing in them." Who took the wallet? The third guy's pockets might be empty, all right, but take a closer look at the skateboard he's holding under his arm. This section of it is wrapped with duct tape, even though the skateboard doesn't look broken. And under the tape, hidden, there's something bulky. That must be Greg's wallet. Barney, the owner of the local gym, called Detective Espinoza and said someone had broken all the sports equipment before he arrived. When Detective Espinoza watched the security footage, he noticed that the vandal was still inside the gym and was last seen entering the dressing room stalls. Detective Espinoza immediately rushed there, but all 3 stalls were occupied. Can you help him find out who the criminal is? Take a look at the stall on the right. The small notice says it's out of order. Moreover, the lady inside it is either wearing underwear over her jeans or she just disguised herself in a hurry. So, the criminal is in the right stall. Bella went to the performance of a famous circus company. They were especially known for their skilled rope walker who never had any trouble during any of her performances. But right before she was about to step onto the rope, Bella shouted from the audience, "Stop the show!" Can you tell why? Take a look at the heels of the rope walker's shoes. The right shoe's heel is cracked. That could easily catch on the rope and cause her to slip no matter how talented she is. James had been saving money to buy himself a new motorcycle. He finally had enough to get the new model. When he headed to the store, he saw that there was a special offer. The helmet and other safety equipment would be free if he could answer this riddle. What kind of coat is always wet when you put it on? Can you help James get freebies? The answer is a coat of paint. James couldn't wait to drive his motorcycle back home. However, on his way, he made a wrong turn and ended up at an unknown crossroad. Which path should he take? The first path is all muddy, and that can make the bike slip. The second path looks like it's only covered with dried leaves, but if you take a closer look, you can see nails that can give James's motorcycle flat tires. So he should take the third path with the tiny pebble stones. After completing her yoga class, Aisha couldn't find her car keys. When she claimed it to the receptionist and asked for help, she said she saw 3 people near her locker. When Aisha questioned them, Rupert said he didn't even know how to drive. Lily said she was living within walking distance of the studio, so she wouldn't even need to drive. And Alan said he only had his own car keys. Can you tell who's lying? Look at the keys Alan is holding. He said those were his car keys, but the keychain has Aisha's name on it. He has her keys. As Amy was hiking in the forest, she reached a crossroad on the trail. When she searched for her bag to check the trail map, she noticed it was gone. And now she didn't know which path to take. Can you help her? The second path might look clear, but do you see the "Beware of Avalanche" sign under the leaves here? Seems like this won't be the safest option. As for the third path, take a look at these trees here. They all have bear claw markings on them, so she shouldn't choose that one either. But she can easily climb over the fallen tree blocking the first path and continue heading to the camp safely. Barry's boss loved games, and the only way to get a promotion in the company was if employees answered his riddles correctly. It was finally Barry's turn to have a meeting with him. When he entered the office, the boss said, "Tell me the answer and become a senior." A man and his boss have the same parents but are not siblings. How is this possible? He is self-employed. Ben and his girlfriend Jessica were enjoying the carnival in town. That's when Ben spotted the "Find the Odd One, Win the Prize" notice on one of the booths. The prize was a pearl necklace, and he wanted to win it for Jessica. The owner of the booth said Ben needed to spot the different wind-up toys on 3 different shelves. The first shelf had little bear toys moving around. Can you help him find the different one? This little bear's face looks as if it's blinking, unlike the others. The second shelf was full of small wind-up robot toys this time. Which toy is different? This robot has a square nose, unlike the others with triangle noses. The last shelf has cute wind-up fairy toys. Which one is different? This fairy here has 3 wings. Detective Terry was chasing a robber who was running away across a crowded street. But just as he was closing in, a passerby momentarily blocked his view, and the robber vanished. At the end of the road, there were only 3 shops where the robber could be hiding. Take a look at the display windows of each one. Can you spot him? Look at the hung clothes on the shelf that can be seen from the second store's window. Can you spot a glimpse of the red sneakers matching those worn by the robber? He's hiding in there. Victoria was invited to a costume party at her office. When she arrived, she noticed that one of her colleagues might actually be a monster. Can you tell who? Take a look at the guy wearing a superhero costume. both of the gloves he is wearing are left-hand ones. On a winter day, a man was standing in the middle of someone's front yard. The person stayed there for several weeks without moving, and the owner of the yard didn't mind. Eventually, the man left. Who was the man? It was a snowman, of course. He left a couple of weeks later when the temperature went up. Over winter break, 5 best friends each did different activities in different cities. Can you find out each friend's full name, what they did, and where they went? Their first names are Julie, Megan, David, Fred, and Sam. Their last names are Wallace, Thompson, Mallard, Shields, and Drake. Their preferred activities are a ski trip, moving to another place, a cruise, cooking classes, and visiting relatives. The places where they went are Houston, Paris, Cleveland, Vancouver, and Miami. And now, there's a bit more info you might need. 1. Julie and Miss Wallace were sad that David wasn't coming back. 2. Neither Sam nor Julie had ever left the US before this winter break. 3. All the first names that have 2 syllables belong with the last names that have 2 syllables. Nobody's last name starts with the same letter as their first name. 4. Miss Mallard is excited to learn about French cuisine. 5. Mr. Thompson doesn't want to move. 6. The friends, in no particular order, are as follows. The girl who is going on a ski trip, Mr. Shields, Megan, the boy headed to Houston, and Julie. 7. Cruises can only be taken in warm coastal cities. Ski trips can only be taken in cold, mountainous places. Remember that this winter. 8. The cruise ship Fred is traveling on does not dock in Houston. Also keep in mind that Sam can be a boy's or girl's name. In this case, it's short for Samantha. Julie Mallard takes cooking classes and she went to Paris. Megan Wallace moved to Cleveland. David Thompson visited his relatives in Houston. Fred Shields went on a cruise in Miami. Sam Drake took a ski trip in Vancouver. It's 1962, and you're traveling to Innsbruck, Austria, to see the Winter Olympics. When you arrive at the stadium, nobody is there. You ask a passerby, "Why isn't anyone here for the Winter Olympics?" The man answers your question. You both laugh at your silly mistake, and you go back home. What did the passerby tell you? He told you that the Winter Olympics wouldn't start until 1964. There are a few airplanes on the island. The tank of each airplane contains just enough fuel to fly halfway around the world. Any amount of fuel can be transferred from one plane to another while in the air. The only source of fuel is on the island. It's assumed that all the planes burn fuel at the same rate and fly at the same speed. What is the smallest number of airplanes needed to ensure that one plane flies all the way around the world? All the planes should return safely to the island. Only 3 planes are needed. Planes A, B, and C leave the island together. After flying 1/8 of the distance, Plane C transfers 1/4 of the contents of its tank to Plane A and 1/4 to Plane B. This leaves C with 1/4 of its fuel, which is just enough to get back to the island. Planes A and B continue for another 1/8 of the way. Plane B then transfers 1/4 of the contents of its tank to Plane A. Plane B now has half a tank of fuel left, which is enough to go back to the island. Plane A now has a full tank and continues to fly until it runs out of fuel, which occurs when it's 1/4 of the way to the island. It is met by Plane C, which has already been refueled. Plane C transfers 1/4 of its tank to Plane A, and they both head home. Planes A and C run out of fuel when 1/8 of the way to the island is left. Luckily, they're met by Plane B, which has been refueled too. Plane B transfers 1/4 of its tank to each of the 2 planes, and the 3 aircraft now have enough fuel to get home. 2 50-foot ropes are suspended from a 40-foot ceiling 20 feet apart. You have only a knife. How much of the rope can you steal? Almost all of it. First, tie the ropes together at the ends. Then, climb one of the ropes. Make a loop as close to the ceiling as possible. While hanging from the loop, cut the rope just below it. But don't drop it, otherwise you'll be stuck up there. Run the rope through the loop and tie it to your waist. Swing over to the other rope and pull the rope that's going through the loop tight. Cut the other rope as close to the ceiling as possible, holding tight to the end of it. Once the rope is loose, you will swing down below the loop. Let yourself down to the ground by letting the rope out. At the bottom, untie yourself and pull the rope completely through the loop. At this point, you'll have all the rope except what was used to tie the loop. You find yourself trapped in a medieval castle far away from civilization. It's freezing outside. You can't jump out the window because it's too high above the ground, and even snowdrifts won't make the jump softer. The only tree growing near the window doesn't look sturdy enough for you to climb down. However, there are 3 doors, one of which can lead you to freedom. But behind the first door, there's a fierce fire. The second door holds back hundreds of venomous snakes. And behind the third door, there's a pitch-dark maze, and you can only imagine what surprises are waiting for you there. Which door should you choose? The third one. You'll just need to break off a tree branch, turn it into a torch by lighting it in the first room, and go through the maze, which wouldn't be dark anymore. When Mary came to work after a winter break, she realized that the office had been robbed.
Oh, no.
The night guard said he had been patrolling the building when he'd heard suspicious noises. When he got there, he saw that the office door was wide open, and so was the safe. The man also added that he had looked out of the window and noticed someone get in a car. But the sun blinded him, and he didn't manage to see who it was. Mary instantly called the police. Why? There's no sun at night, so it couldn't have blinded the night guard. He must have invented the whole story to help the criminals. Or is he the thief himself? Tina and Timothy loved adventures. Once, they decided to check out an ancient castle in Greenland that was said to belong to a witch. That witch used snow to perform her magic and could turn into any object and copy anyone's appearance. In the castle, they used torches to light their way.
Oh, no.
All of a sudden, their torches went out. Tina got terribly scared. But then, the torches lit again, and she saw 2 husbands of hers in front of her. Can you tell who is her real husband? It's the man on the right. He has 5 fingers, like a regular human. The man on the left has 4 fingers, so it must be the witch. An anonymous person called the police and told them that a notorious criminal had come back to the town. The next day, they called the police once again to report the screams they had heard. They had been coming from an abandoned house. The police rushed there. They broke in and saw 3 tied-up men. They figured out that one of them must have been the criminal. One of the officers said that he knew exactly who the criminal was. Can you spot them? Look at the man on the left. Can you see a phone in his pocket? A true criminal would never let their victim use a phone. Take him, officer! A terrible virus broke free from a laboratory, and now all animals and plants on Earth are mutating at a horrifying speed. You've been trying to find the solution, but got trapped in the laboratory where it had all started instead. There are 3 doors you can escape through, but behind the first one, there's a bunch of aggressive flesh-eating cacti. The second door hides hundreds of poisonous bees. And the third door prevents an attack of fire-spitting dragon-like monsters. Which door can lead you to freedom? You can get out of there alive if you choose the first door. Even though the cacti eat flesh, they're still plants and can't move, so you can easily get around them. You've been kidnapped by an insane scientist who's going to test his new protective cream on you. After covering you with this lotion, he offers you to choose one of 3 containers where he'll then throw you. The first container is filled with radioactive waste. In the second container, there's an acid that can eat even through metal. And the third one is filled with lava from the largest volcano on Earth that erupted a year ago. Which container should you choose? Pick the container with lava. If the volcano erupted a year ago, the lava must be already solid. Jessica, Lauren, and Matthew met at a business conference. All of them presented themselves as wealthy, successful entrepreneurs. Look at these people's hands attentively and try to figure out which of them is a real millionaire. Matthew seems to be wearing a Versace watch. But look, the name of the brand is written incorrectly, so it's fake. Lauren is wearing tons of jewelry, but take a closer look. There are lots of scratches on her bracelets. It's not real gold. The accessories are simply gilded. So the real millionaire is Jessica with her Tiffany bracelet. A very famous painting disappeared from a museum. Later, the police managed to find it, but there was a problem. They found not 1, but 3 paintings. Only one of them is original, the others are just copies. Can you help the police figure out which is the original painting? It's the one with the brown frame. Take a look. All the frames in the museum are made in the same style. Now, take a good look at these prisoners. Which one is in no danger? Rats do bite humans and they can spread diseases. Bees can also be dangerous, especially if you're allergic to them. Meanwhile, toads don't pose any threat to humans, so the third prisoner is safe. Take a look at these prisoners. Who do you think is more likely to survive? Flames can cause serious injuries. And if the rope burns, the consequences will be terrible. So the first prisoner is definitely in danger. The second prisoner is forced to inhale toxic gases. It can't be good for his health. But the third prisoner can turn her body vertically, knock those sharp nails away with her feet, and clear her way to freedom. Look at this picture and try to understand what's wrong here. Pay attention to the smallest details. The school bus doesn't have a door. How about this image? Can you spot anything weird here? Look at the clock. It's 7 past 10, so it's too late both for sunrise and sunset. Then what is that glowing disc sitting low in the sky? Now, look at these animals on the screen. A cat, a camel, a cheetah, a chicken, a crocodile, and a pig. Which animal doesn't belong here? The pig is the odd one out. It's the only animal whose name doesn't start with the letter C. Mr. Carter, a rich man who collected antiques, asked Detective Morris to visit him. When the detective arrived, the collector said that he had just got a precious statuette. But he needed to go away on business for a week, and he was afraid someone would break into his house. The statuette was insured, but the man was still worried. Detective Morris had some other urgent things to do, but he promised to come back in the evening to figure out the solution. But when he arrived several hours later, Mr. Carter told him in despair that he had driven his sister to the doctor and had been away for an hour or so. But when he came back, the statuette was gone. Detective Morris didn't believe the collector. Why? When he left the house in the afternoon, he noticed an empty plastic bottle lying in front of the right part of the gate. Look, it's still there. But for a car to drive through, both parts of the gate have to be open. This means that Mr. Carter lied about leaving his home by car. A renowned chemist disappeared right from his lab. There was no evidence except a piece of paper lying on his desk. The names of 5 elements were scrawled across it hastily: nickel, carbon, oxygen, lanthanum, and sulfur. The guard reported that 3 people had visited the chemist that day: his sister, Laura, his colleague, Nicholas, and his wife, Tessa. The criminal was arrested immediately. Who was it? The list of chemicals is a clue. Their abbreviations spelled out the name Nicholas. Someone stole the principal's money. When the police came to investigate, they questioned the most likely suspects. The PE teacher said that he had had a break. The history teacher was having a lesson, and the music teacher said she had felt unwell and had gone home early. Can you figure out who the thief is? The music teacher is the thief.
Oh, no!
Look, she has gloves in her bag, although it's summer. Suspicious. Mr. White, a rich businessman, disappeared right from his bedroom, but he managed to leave a note. It read, the 1st of July, the 4th of January, the 1st of December, the 8th of February. The police questioned the people who had been in the house at that time. Judy, Mr. White's wife, said that she didn't know anything because she had been away visiting her parents. Logan, Mr. White's secretary, told the police he'd been working on the report for his boss and hadn't left his study. And Rose, Mr. White's daughter, answered that she had guests and they hadn't left her room. Who knows something about Mr. White's disappearance? The one behind Mr. White's disappearance is his wife. The 1st of July means the letter J, the 4th of January, U, the 1st of December, D, and the 8th of February, Y. Together, it's Judy. Rachel called the police early in the morning. When they arrived, she told the officers her story. She worked in a museum. The day before, she took home several ancient books because she wanted to do some research. But then a blackout happened. She lit a couple of candles and continued her work. Suddenly, she heard the doorbell ring. When she opened the door, someone in a black mask hit her on the head. When she recovered, the books had been gone. The detectives arrested the woman for misreporting. Why? If there had been a blackout, the doorbell wouldn't have been working. Private Detective Deborah was doing some shopping at the mall. Suddenly, she heard people arguing. The woman went there and saw a stressed shop assistant and several people crowding him. The man had found a smartphone and made an announcement. And now, several people claimed it was their phone. One man said the phone must have slipped from his bag. A young woman said the gadget belonged to her. And an older woman shouted it was her husband's device. That's when the phone rang. For some reason, the shop assistant handed it to Deborah. The woman glanced at the screen and immediately gave the phone to the man. How did she understand whose device it was? Deborah saw the word wife written on the screen. Look at these three people who seem to be having fun. They're hanging from a tree, but one of them is a ghost. Can you guess who it is? The woman on the left has just rolled her eyes. That's why she looks so creepy. This guy is simply wearing a mask. But unlike the others, the hair of the lady on the right ignores gravity. She must be the ghost. Cora gets a new job and moves into a luxury apartment in Manhattan. Her condo has 13 floors. 5 people are living on the ground floor, and each floor has 2 more people on it compared to the previous one. Which floor calls the elevator the most? Any person who lives on a floor other than the ground floor would have to call the elevator to reach their respective floors. So, the ground floor should call the elevator way more frequently than the other floors. Cora meets her neighbor, Mason. He has 4 daughters, Hannah, Elle, Eve, and Anna. What pattern did he use to name them? His daughters have palindromic names. You can read them from left to right and from right to left, but they'll remain the same. Cora takes the elevator to the 13th floor where she lives. The elevator takes her to the desired floor. She comes out and freaks out right away. Why? Take a look at the mirror. It didn't reflect the number 13 correctly. 4 movers show up to help Cora with her boxes, but one of them is an imposter.
Hello.
Can you guess who? The third guy carries the only box that doesn't have Cora's name on it. Also, one of his arms is in a cast. He hid it under his gloves and sleeves, but Cora cannot be tricked so easily. The next day, Cora receives 4 welcome baskets from her neighbors. One of them isn't safe. Can you guess which one? The second basket looks delicious, but take a closer look. There are bugs instead of chocolate in these cookies. Yuck! Cora wants to hire a cleaner to take care of her apartment. She interviews 3 people. Sandra says she has 20 years of experience in this field. Harry is a student who needs extra money to pay his bills and buy food. And Bianca has recently moved from her parents' farm. She needs a job as soon as possible. Who's lying? Harry. Take a closer look. He's too transparent to be a real human. Ghosts don't need to pay bills and buy food. Liar.
Oh no.
There's a swimming pool on the roof of Cora's condo. She goes there and meets 3 neighbors in the shower. One of them is not from this planet. Can you guess who? The third lady is a visitor from outer space. She has 7 toes instead of 5. Also, she lacks a belly button. And it seems like the shower steam goes through her body. Cora comes back home and finds out that someone stole one of her expensive paintings and replaced it with a cheap copy.
What?
How did she know? The third painting has a slightly thinner frame than the others. That's because it's a fake. Cora decides to question her neighbors. She knocks on 2 doors just next to hers. Ashley and Megan live in separate apartments just next to Cora. These 2 ladies have partners, but one of them dates 3 people at once. Can you guess who? Ashley has 3 different cakes in her fridge, so she probably had 3 different guests recently. Cora wants to find the thief who stole her painting, so she calls the police. Officers examine the crime scene and arrest 3 suspects right away. Can you tell who's guilty by just looking at this picture? The thief left footprints of sneakers on the carpet next to the paintings. Only the first suspect has the matching shoes and size. The next morning, Cora goes hiking in the woods, and eventually she gets lost. There are 3 routes that she can take. One has animal footprints, the second one has human footprints, and the third route is along the river. Which path is the most reliable? Cora should choose the third route. Animals might be dangerous and people are not reliable, but the river will lead her to the city or a bigger body of water with a beach. In the evening, Cora goes to the local concert hall. One of these guys is a real magician. Can you guess who? The first guy is hiding a card under his sleeve. The second one makes his card levitate with the help of teeny tiny strings. But the third magician's hat levitates on its own. So he's the real one. Cora is watching an opera set in ancient Egypt, so the actors are dressed in appropriate costumes. After the show, Cora goes backstage to meet them. But one of these people is not an actor. This person is a time traveler from the past. Can you spot the imposter? All 4 people are dressed in ancient Egyptian costumes, so we should use the method of elimination. The first guy is using a smartphone, so he's probably an actor. The second lady has a modern manicure, so let's exclude her too. The fourth lady has a sports car tattoo on her leg, so she must be from this century as well. Therefore, the third guy is a time traveler. Cora arrives at the condo after the opera late at night. She enters the empty lobby and suddenly hears weird sounds from the basement. Cora goes there to check and finds herself in a secret, spooky dungeon. She finds a door with a combination lock which requires a 4-letter password. There is a mirror next to the door. Someone wrote the word "live" on its surface. Cora tries to enter this word, but it doesn't work. Can you help her crack the code? The mirror is part of the clue. Cora should reflect this word, and the password is evil. Finally, Cora opens the door. She sees a secret meeting taking place in a creepy hallway. All participants are dressed in robes and masks. They catch Cora and offer her a deal. If she manages to crack their riddles, she'll become part of the club. But if not, she'll remain locked in the dungeon forever. Here's the riddle. My neighbor makes mistakes. I get rid of them. Who am I? Can you help Cora out? I'm an eraser. Cora nails it, and now she's invited to go into the Hall of Mirrors alone. Cora sees a bunch of fun reflections of herself in the weird mirrors, but suddenly she freaks out and screams. Why is that? One of the reflections doesn't belong to Cora, so she's not alone in this room. Cora enters the next room and gets trapped in a spooky, abandoned public shower. She needs to choose one of these 3 doors to get out. There's a bunch of hungry rats behind the first door. There's an unknown glowing substance behind the second door. It may or may not be toxic. And there's a firewall behind the third door. Which way is more or less safe? Cora should choose the third door. Look around. She's in the shower, remember? She can use a bucket and water to put out the fire. Now Cora needs to crack this twisted circle maze to find the way out. Can you help her? Here's the correct route. Cora enters the next room and finds herself in a huge, chic dining room. There are 3 figures in robes and masks staring at her, but one of them is just a statue. Can you guess who? The first figure is breathing deeply. The second is blinking. You can see it through the mask. So the third figure must be the statue. People in masks give Cora 3 envelopes. She can choose one of them and take what's inside as a gift. One of them contains a $100 million diamond necklace. Another one, a pair of wool socks. And the third one, $10,000 in cash. Each envelope is signed. The first one says, "Necklace isn't here." The second one says, "Necklace is here." And the third one says, "Necklace might be here." Can you help Cora make the right choice? She should ignore the writings and simply weigh the envelopes. The desired one should be much heavier than the others.
Oh, yes.
Cora gets her necklace. The secret club members take off their robes and masks and turn on the lights. Cora recognizes her neighbors. That was just a welcoming prank. But still, something is odd here. Can you guess what? The lamp levitates.
Oh my god.
Here are 2 adorable couples in front of you, Jane and John and Mary and Jack. Both are cooking something yummy for dinner together. So cute. But hey, one of the ladies is in danger. Who is it? It's Mary. Look, even though it may seem that John is trying to poison Jane's coffee, it's not like that. He's just adding some sugar. But Jack has a knife in his back pocket. It was a regular Sunday morning and Kendall went shopping. While she was window shopping, a pickpocket ran up to her and stole a wallet from her purse. She called for help, and 3 police officers approached her, asking what had happened and how they could help. Can you help Kendall understand which of these 3 officers can be trusted? Look closely at the officers. One of them has the Apple logo on his uniform. Another one doesn't have a cap that would match the rest of his uniform. So here's the one Kendall can really trust. The other two must be the pickpocket's accomplices in disguise. At a local supermarket, employees started noticing that someone kept stealing their produce. However, they didn't spot any weird people at all, so it must have been one of their loyal customers. The store's security guard decided to re-watch the closed-circuit TV footage to find out who the thief was. Once he began watching the footage from the day before, he instantly spotted the culprit. Can you spot them too? Look, there are 3 customers in the footage: a woman, a teen, and an elderly lady. At the start, everything seems okay. But a couple of minutes later, the woman gets pregnant? Now, that's impossible. She's certainly hiding something she's stolen underneath her jumper. It was a friends gathering. People were having fun, eating some scrumptious dishes that Susie, the host of the party, had cooked for them. The next day, in a group chat, Erica, Jacob's wife, texted that evening her husband had been rushed to the hospital, where he passed away a couple of hours later. The doctors said it was poisoning, and Erica rightly accused Susie of poisoning her husband. How did she do? Look at the image again and tell how Jacob was poisoned. Jacob was the only one having plain water that night. Look, everyone else was drinking tea and had no issues after the dinner. It means that the water in the jug was poisoned. Polly and Molly were walking down an avenue when they decided to sit in a cafe and have some iced lattes. No sooner had they sat down to enjoy their drinks than Polly whispered in Molly's ear, "We've got to run away from here fast. There's a man that escaped from prison next to us. It's dangerous to stay here." How did she know that? There were only 3 customers in the cafe. These 2 men looked totally okay, but this one is trying to hide handcuffs underneath his long sleeves. Annabelle, the world's greatest actress, woke up in a hospital. She couldn't remember anything but her name. She didn't know where she lived, where she worked, or even who she lived with. One thing she knew for sure was that she was married. There was a ring with a massive diamond on her ring finger. A couple of hours after her awakening, 2 men showed up in her room, Ryan and Jeff. Ryan was a young and good-looking man, and Jeff, well, let's say he was old enough to be her grandfather. Both of them claimed she was his wife. Who is the real husband? Well, sorry to break it to you, but Jeff is her real husband. Yeah, Ryan has a tattoo that says Annabelle, but it's Jeff who has a matching wedding ring. Ryan must be one of her fans who wants to take advantage of the situation. Eric and Hugh were heading to the class reunion party. It's been 10 years since they graduated, and both of them wanted to impress their high school love interest, Mary. They both knew Mary was a pretty materialistic girl, so they needed to show how rich both of them got. Maybe this way, she could finally notice one of them and even agree to go on a date. Here's the kicker though, only one of the guys actually got rich. The other just pretended to be wealthy. Can you guess who it is? Easy peasy. Eric is rich and Hugh is brokey broke. Yeah, Hugh arrived at the party driving a posh car, and he's wearing designer jewelry head to toe. As for Eric, he had to use public transport to get to the party. But take a closer look at the car. There are bank loan documents piled up on the back seat. Hugh probably just rented the car for the day. Meanwhile, Eric's wearing some luxury items. He probably just didn't want to waste time in traffic. Jason is a shop assistant in a department store. At the moment, there are 3 people in the fitting room who he's assisting. It's Jessica, the girl wearing a green dress, Sean, the man wearing a leather jacket and skinny jeans, and Alex, the man who's currently taking a larger pair of jeans that Jason has bought him. One of the clients is an alien. Jason has to figure out who it is. It's Alex. Take a closer look at his feet. Only a reptile or an alien can have such feet. Mary was walking in the woods and suddenly saw a really fancy castle. It was getting late, and she thought she might ask for a stay in that castle. It was a wicked troll's castle, and he really didn't like intruders. Mary was captured and locked up in a dark room with 2 guards. Still, the troll gave her a chance to break free. There were 2 doors in the room. One door led to freedom, and the other one was locked. The guards knew which door led to freedom. One of the guards always told the truth, the other always lied, and Mary didn't know who was who. She could ask one guard only one question. What question should she ask? Mary should say, "If I ask your colleague to show me the way to freedom, what door will it be?" No matter which guard replies, they will point at the locked door. The one that lies will point at the wrong door on purpose, and the one that tells the truth will do it since that's what the other one who lies would choose. This way, Mary can figure out the wrong door and choose the other one. Jane was on a hike in Africa when she decided to cross a bridge to admire the view. When she was in the middle of the bridge, she heard something moving behind her. She turned and saw a huge, hungry lion waiting for her. She turned to the other side. There were giant snakes. The water to her left was filled with hungry piranhas. Where should she go? She should jump into the lake. Piranhas don't live in lakes, especially in Africa. They live in South America. Look closer. Those are just some harmless fish. A man wakes up in a place he's never been to before. He rushes to the exit and sees 2 doors. When he opens the first door, he sees that the hall is made of magnifying glass. The scorching hot sun fries anyone who enters in no time. Behind the second door, a huge fire-breathing dragon is sleeping. But anyone who enters this hall risks waking it up immediately. How can the man escape safely? He needs to wait for dusk when there's no sun. Then he'll be able to get out of that place. Maria lives in Paris. Once in 2 weeks, she goes to Saint-Tropez to see her extravagant grandmother. This time, she bought a ticket in a machine, finished her coffee in a bar, and headed for the train. Strangely, this weekend, she didn't show up in Saint-Tropez. Why? She bought the wrong ticket. It says Saint-Tropez, Paris, but she needed Paris, Saint-Tropez. When she tried to get on the train, the conductor immediately noticed that her ticket was wrong, and she just didn't have enough time to change it.
Mason is moving to a new town. On the way, he makes a stop at the local gas station. He wants to pay for gas and snacks, but his red leather wallet is missing. Mason interrogates 3 people standing nearby. Ashley says that she didn't touch Mason's stuff. Both of her hands were full of sandwiches. Lily says she was taking selfies for her social media. And the cashier, Xavier, said that he didn't notice any red wallets. Mason knows for sure who's the thief. What about you? Take a look at Ashley's sandwiches. She hid Mason's wallet between 2 pieces of bread. Mason exposes the thief and continues on his journey. He gets hungry and goes to a diner. But immediately, Mason feels something off about this place. Something's completely wrong with one of these 3 waiters. Which one? The lady on the left has wolf teeth, and she doesn't wear any badge on her uniform, so it makes sense to stay away from her. Mason arrives at the town late at night. He parks his car and looks around. Suddenly, Mason notices an unconscious lady on the ground. He calls the police and an ambulance. They arrive very quickly. Meanwhile, the lady comes to her senses, but she finds out that all her money is missing. The police have 3 suspects, Mason and 2 other pedestrians, Noah and Mike. Who's the thief? Take a look at the ground. There are 2 types of footsteps leading to the place where the lady is lying. One of them belongs to her, and the other one was left by Mason. There are 2 parallel straight lines left by a wheelchair. So the thief must be Mike.
Oh no!
The next day, Mason meets his neighbors.
Hello.
It's an elderly couple, Ralph and Glenda. They have just finished building a fancy new house. The house looks beautiful, and they invite their 3 grandchildren over to have a look at their work. It takes 1 day for 1 guy and 2 girls to break several windows, knock down the fence, remove the decorations, and ruin the roof. But the retired couple doesn't mind. They just smile looking at the teenagers. Can you figure out why? The grandparents made a gingerbread house and invited their grandchildren to enjoy it. Dinner time. Mason enters a local restaurant. 2 tables are occupied, but this is not a regular boring restaurant. One of these families belongs to the mafia. Can you guess which one? Take a closer look at the second family. The daughter holds a teddy bear that's stuffed with dollars. Mason decides to go to another place instead. He takes a look at these 2 tables and spots the mafia family right away. What about you? It's the first family. The father has a red laser dot at the level of his heart. A sniper is aiming at him. Mason switches restaurants again. 2 tables are occupied by innocent-looking families. Yet again, one of these groups belongs to the mafia. Can you guess which one? Take a look at the second table. The father is hiding a gold bar in his menu.
Oh.
The next morning, Mason goes to check out the local pool. Can you spot an undercover cop among these people? This guy has a suspicious earphone in his ear. Why would he need it while swimming? Mason is terrible at packing. Today, he's going camping in the forest. can you help him pack his stuff? Take a look at his bag and spot all the useless items. Oh look, he has an electric hairdryer, but there's no electricity in the forest, so he can definitely leave it at home. Mason and his friend Bennett go hiking in the local forest. On the way, they meet two ladies, Anna and Alice. They hang out together and both guys fall in love with Anna. They want to take her on a date. So the guys secretly ask Alice which of them Anna likes more. Alice doesn't want to share her bestie's secrets, but she gives the guys a hint. Anna loves pizza, but she can't stand burgers. She likes to go to the pool, but she never goes to the gym. Her favorite animal is the llama, but she's afraid of zebras. Which one of these guys does Anna like? Alice wanted to give the guys a clue, so we have to look for some patterns in her words. All the things Anna likes have double letters. Bennett has 2 double letters in his name, so he must be Anna's crush. The guys keep on hiking. Suddenly, they see a beautiful large apple tree growing on a cliff. If a powerful wind blows towards the land, where will the apples fall? In any case, they'll fall down. Alice needs to leave for the city, but Mason, Bennett, and Anna decide to spend the night in the wild. The next day, they wake up in a terrible trap. They're hanging upside down in the air with their legs tied. There's a bunch of venomous snakes on the ground under Mason. There's fire and hot coals under Anna, and dangerous scorpions are crawling under Bennett. How can the guys survive? Can you see that black cloud with lightning? It's gonna start raining soon. The rainwater will put out the fire under Anna. This lady has a knife, so she can cut the rope and then help the others.
Yes!
The guys escape, but they get lost in the forest. It gets dark. They're wandering around and come across a creepy cabin. It belongs to a witch. She says the guys must solve a riddle if they want to escape from her land. The witch writes a number. There are 2 special things about it. What are they? First, this number contains all existing digits. Second, they're put in alphabetical order.
Oh.
Mason and his friends return to the town. Meanwhile, someone robbed the local museum and stole the most valuable painting.
Oh no.
A detective investigates the crime scene and finds the thief right away. However, when asked to give it back, the criminal provides the police with 3 copies of the same painting. He refuses to tell which one is original. Can you find the real masterpiece? Each painting has a different frame, but only one of them is perfectly similar to the other frames hanging in the museum. And since this museum uses the same style of frames, this painting should be the original. Mason gets a new job in a small company. Only 4 people work with him. One day, Mason comes to the office and he doesn't find his favorite slippers. Mason always puts them on while working. He searches everywhere and finally spots them on the roof of the building. Mason is furious. He questions his coworkers. Bill says, "I don't even know where you keep your slippers." Phil says, "I'm terrified of heights. I've never climbed up there." Mara says, "I'm wearing high heels today. I can hardly walk in them." And Ella says, "I respect you too much to prank you, sir." One of them is lying. Who? It's Phil. He said he was afraid of heights, but take a look at the photo on his table. He's skydiving with a parachute. Liar. After work, Mason returns to his condo. He enters the elevator with 3 people. One of them is a police officer working undercover. Can you guess who? Take a look at this old lady's outfit. She has a tiny hidden video camera in her hat. Mason enters his apartment. Oh no! Someone broke the lock and stole his precious golden cup. Mason calls the police and they question 3 neighbors. George was painting his living room all day. He listened to loud music so he couldn't hear anything. Bella was walking with her boyfriend all day long. They've just returned home. And Aaron was sick, so he only went out once that day to take out his trash. He heard weird noises from Mason's apartment. Who's lying? George! His living room doesn't look freshly painted.
Oh no.
Hey, dear detective! It's time you apply your skills to solve the toughest brain teasers we've got. Look at these hands. All of them seem to belong to wealthy people. But it's just an illusion. Your first case is to figure out which person is indeed rich. Have you noticed the brand names on the accessories on the left and the right hands are misspelled? These luxury items must be fake. As for the hand in the middle, it's decorated with a real gold bracelet. It most likely belongs to a rich person. Now, look at these travelers and their bags very attentively. Can you spot a smuggler? Why would a blind person need a flashlight in his luggage? That's suspicious. He must be the criminal we're looking for. Which of these people is poor? Pay attention to the guy with an iPhone. The apple on the back is whole, which means the phone is fake. How about these people? Who is richer? The man on the left looks like a rich businessman, but he might be pretending. At the same time, the guy with green hair looks very casual. But he's holding a brand new laptop and expensive headphones. He's likely to be richer. Can you figure out which of these athletes is poor? It must be the blonde guy who's wearing a fake Adidas shirt. Or should I say, a Bebas. You wake up in a room with 3 doors. Suddenly, someone starts knocking on each of them. You come up to each door in turn and sneak a peek through the peephole. Behind each door, there's a police officer. Do you know which door is safe to open? You can open the 3rd door without any worries. The first man doesn't show his badge and has a knife tucked under his belt. The second man has weird stars on his uniform. As for the 3rd police officer, he is the only one with identical stars on his hat and badge without any hidden weapon. He's your safest option. These people look homeless, but one of them isn't poor. Who is it? Look at the guy with a cart. He's got car keys. Now this task is tough. Which of these ladies doesn't have a lot of money? Think twice before answering. The lady in pink buys only those clothes that are on sale. She might be poor. Doris was having a beach vacation with her friend Teresa. One morning, the young women were sunbathing near the water. Teresa went to a cafe to get some lemonade while Doris went swimming. When she came back, she saw that her smartphone, which she had left on her beach towel, was gone. She asked a man sunbathing nearby if he had seen her smartphone. He answered that he'd been sleeping the whole time. At this moment, Teresa came back with the lemonade. She looked around and immediately understood where Doris's phone was. Who took it? It was the neighbor. Before the accident, the spade was lying on his left. Now it's on the right. There's also a suspicious pile of sand near the spade now. The man must have hidden the phone in the sand, hoping to dig it out later. Look at these guys attentively. One of them is not living alone. Who is it? The man on the right. He's got 2 toothbrushes. Joe had a friend, Randy, who never answered questions directly. Once, Joe sent Randy a message inviting him to join their common friends in a cafe. Randy's answer was kinda weird. Sorry, no money. Job and job. Luckily, Joe knew his friend well enough to understand what he meant. But can you figure it out? Randy meant he had no money because he was in between jobs. Terry invited his friend Alice, who was studying to become a police officer, to a party. It was organized by his friend Sean. Terry was worried that there could be a thief at this party. Throughout the event, Alice was watching the guests attentively. At the end of the party, she told Terry who the thief was. Have you figured it out? It's the host, Sean. At the beginning of the party, one of the guests had a watch on his wrist, and this woman had a beautiful necklace. But at the end of the party, the watch was already on Sean's wrist, and the necklace was in the flower pot. The police were informed that one of the most wanted criminals, Carl Walker, was going to arrive in the country. According to this information, the man was going to come by plane. Unfortunately, the police knew very little about him. He was short, wearing glasses, and traveling under a false name. Detective Adams went to the airport. He detained 4 people who fit the description. They were Mr. Lewis, Mr. Relkoff, Mr. Taylor, and Mr. Wilson. Can you figure out who the criminal is? It's Mr. Relkoff. His last name is actually the criminal's last name, Walker, but with its letters mixed. Austin, a rich businessman, brought very important documents to his office. But he had a meeting and needed to leave for several hours. Austin asked his secretary to be super attentive. His competitors could try to break into his office to look at the documents. When he came back, his secretary told him everything had been quiet. But when the man looked around, he realized someone had been inside his office. The secretary eventually admitted having fallen asleep while Austin was away. How did the businessman understand someone had visited his office? The globe on his desk is now turned in the opposite direction. You're trapped in a room with no doors or windows. All of a sudden, the room starts filling with water. You check everywhere but can't find any way to turn it off. You know that help is on the way, but it's still at least 5 minutes until their arrival. You only have 2 minutes. After that, the entire room will be flooded. Obviously, you can't hold your breath for 3 minutes. You've got 3 objects, but only one of them can save your life. What should you choose? A straw, a rope, or an empty bucket? You should opt for the bucket. Put it on your head. This will create an air pocket, and you'll be able to breathe for a couple of minutes until help arrives. Carter had a fast and successfully developing company until his main investor went bankrupt. Upset, Carter went to visit his best friend Justin, who was a coffee shop owner. Justin told him that a rich businessman visited his cafe almost every day. He was there that day too. The man was very secretive and didn't have any social media accounts. Justin told Carter to go and introduce himself and pointed towards the back of the coffee shop. The guy went there and saw 3 men, but he didn't ask his friend which one was the wealthy entrepreneur. He looked at the men attentively. Can you figure out which one he needs? It isn't the guy in the middle. He has a dollar store bag. The one on the right could be rich, but he's recording an Instagram story. And the businessman isn't active on any social media. This means the man Carter needs is on the left. 3 friends agreed to hang out together on a Friday night. One of them, Brian, was tasked with bringing pizza. But the guy was running extremely late. His friends were starving. Strangely, Brian wasn't picking up their calls. But in an hour or so, he sent them a selfie. In the photo, he was standing next to his car. In the following message, he wrote he had run out of gas. He was at a gas station filling up his car. But his friends didn't believe Brian's excuses. Why? In the picture, it's clearly seen that the guy has an electric car. It doesn't need gas.
Luna here buys a plot of land with an unfinished house. The previous owner started construction 2 years ago, but he didn't finish it. Luna launches reconstruction, and soon she realizes that the house is haunted. Most ghosts are peaceful, but after a while, some mischievous ghost begins to ruin the house. Luna calls a famous ghostbuster, Phil. He interviews all the ghosts. The handyman ghost says he's been here since the very beginning, because he fell during construction. The ghost doctor says he moved here 6 years ago to hide from people and enjoy silence. And the third ghost used to live in a lake nearby, but then settled here. That was more than a year ago. So, who's lying? The doctor. He says he moved here 6 years ago. But the house itself was built only 2 years ago. Case solved. The local music school is haunted by the ghost of an opera diva. Phil arrives, explores the school, and questions 3 witnesses. The teacher heard the singing from the basement the other day. She went there to check, but it was empty. Nellie, the student, says that he saw the singing ghost in the hallway. And another student, Sam, saw her in the toilet. After hearing their stories, Phil is sure that the students pranked their teacher. Why? Take a closer look at the basement. It's full of dusty stuff. But this smart speaker isn't dusty, which means it was brought here recently. Only students claim to have actually seen the diva ghost. Oh, busted! Phil gets out of the castle and receives a new call. People complain about a ghost on the local pier. Phil arrives at the haunted spot and sees these 3 ladies. Who's the ghost? All 3 are ghosts. If they were living, dense people, their backs would be reflected in the water, not their faces. Phil asks the ghost ladies to leave. 2 of them agree, but the third one escapes to the nearest forest. Phil follows her, but he loses track. Can you help him find her? She's hiding in this puddle. Phil returns home and checks his email. He receives 2 job offers from 2 different ghost-busting agencies. One of them is willing to pay him $1.8 million with an annual increase of $200,000. Another company is offering him a salary of $2 million with no raises. Which job will create more wealth in 3 years? Alright, let's do the math. If Phil picks the first agency, his salary will grow to $2 million in the second year. And in the third year, it will be $2.2 million. So he would earn $6 million by the end of the third year. If he picks the second agency, the math is more simple. 3 times 20. And again, he would earn $6 million by the end of the third year. However, if Phil picks the first agency, he would earn much more in the fourth year. So the choice is pretty obvious. Phil takes the first job, but first he decides to have a brief vacation in a famous haunted hotel. Unfortunately, someone robs the hotel during his stay. The police officer arrives in the morning and interrogates 3 guests. Phil says, "Sir, there was a heavy snowfall yesterday, so I was in my room all day watching TV." Peter says, "I was feeling sick yesterday. I wasn't in my senses. How could I commit the robbery?" And Bella says, "I returned to the hotel about 10 minutes ago. I don't know anything about the robbery." The officer figures out who committed the robbery right away. What about you? Bella is suspicious. She says she returned 10 minutes ago. But there are no footprints outside the hotel except for the officer's footprints. The next morning, Phil wakes up in a haunted basement. He's starving. Suddenly, a creepy man enters and brings him 4 plates of food. He says that Phil can only choose one dish. What should he choose? There's a bug in the first plate. The second one has an unpleasant smell. And the fourth one has nothing edible left. So Phil should take the third plate. After a while, the local ghost offers Phil a deal. If he solves a riddle, the ghost will help him escape. What phrase is represented by this rebus below? Can you help him out? It means, "I am surrounded by enemies." Phil keeps on chasing the ghost and falls into a pit. He ends up getting trapped in a cave. Phil comes across 3 doors. Behind the first door, there's a maze. He will be lost for the rest of his life trying to get through. There's a deep, narrow chasm behind the second door. If Phil steps in, he'll fall into it. There's a zombie behind the third door. He loves feasting on humans. What should Phil do to escape? He should open the second door, then open the third one and quickly hide behind the first door. The zombie would assume that Phil entered the second door and start chasing him. The zombie will fall into the chasm and Phil will be free to go through the third door. Phil gets out of the trap and returns to the city. He's walking down the street. Suddenly, a pretty lady approaches him and asks to call the police. Someone stole her bag that had millions of dollars. Phil questions her about the thief. She says she was walking down the street when a guy came running from behind. He was wearing gloves and a face mask. He snatched the bag and ran away. She couldn't even see him. Phil asks, "How come you have scratches all over your face?" She replies that she tried to catch him and he scratched her cheek with a golden ring. It was on his right hand. Phil immediately understands that her story is fake. Why? The lady mentioned that the thief was wearing gloves, so he couldn't scratch her with a golden ring. Phil arrives at his new office. His colleagues give him a big welcome cake. He leaves it in the office fridge to drink tea together during lunch hours. He opens the fridge again and sees that someone bit his cake. Phil questions for suspects. Bella says she's been at a business meeting all morning. She hasn't even entered the kitchen today. Sam entered the kitchen only 2 times to use the coffee machine, but he didn't open the fridge. And Hannah says she's on a sugar-free diet. Lily says she was at the dentist all morning, and she just got here. Who's lying? Sam. Take a look at the coffee machine. The sign says that it's broken. Therefore, his entire story is fake. Phil's client sends him 2 pictures of a creepy haunted house. Can you spot 7 differences between them? Here they are. Great job! The next day, Phil goes to check an abandoned castle. He gets trapped in a room with 3 doors through which he can escape, but each way hides some danger. There's a zombie behind the first door. Behind the second door, there's a hungry wolf, and a spooky ghost is waiting behind the third door. Which door should he choose? Ghosts tend to scare people, but they are not dangerous, so the third door is the safest option. Phil finds himself in a hallway. The door is closed and the lock appears to be quite complex. Luckily, Phil meets the local guardian ghost. He shows Phil 3 keys. One of them will certainly unlock the door. However, if Phil uses the wrong key, he'll stay trapped in this cursed castle forever. Can you help him choose the correct key? Only the second key fits perfectly.
I've got a bunch of new riddles for you, oh great detective. Concentrate and crack them all like nuts. Look at this picture very attentively. One of these people attacked the artist, but can you figure out who it was? The artist started writing the letter K and then another letter, but he didn't have time to finish it. It seems to be an I, so the culprit could be Kitty. But at the same time, it also looks as if the artist simply didn't have time to finish the letter L, which is another letter that can be confused with I. So, if the injured man tried to write the lower part of the letter L but didn't have enough time to finish it, it could easily be Claude, who attacked him. What do you think? Was it Claude or Kitty? Write your answer in the comments. These people seem to be rather strange, but only one of them is a real vampire. Who is it? All of them are drinking something red, but it might be just some pomegranate juice. The girl on the left has a blood red streak next to her mouth, but it might just be smudged lipstick. The man has weird teeth, but they could be artificial. As for the woman on the right, she must be the vampire. Have you noticed that she doesn't have a reflection in the mirror? This couple is about to get married. What a happy event. But not everything is rainbows and butterflies here. One of the people in the picture is actually an alien. Have you spotted this guest from another planet? It's the bride herself. Look, she's got 3 arms. Continuing with the topic of extraterrestrial visitors, you need to find an alien among these athletes. Can you spot anything unusual about them? The guy on the left must be an alien. He's got 2 left hands. Yikes. Creepy. Now this guy seems to be lost and confused. There are 2 doors in front of him, and both ladies seem friendly. But one of the doors isn't safe to enter. Which one is it? It's the door on the left. This glamorous lady is offering the guy a ride, but do you see that strange decor in her apartment? Especially the skull? At the same time, the second woman looks quite disheveled. But despite her messy appearance, offering food might just be a kind gesture. In any case, a ride with a stranger holds more risk than a simple hamburger. Look at these bathrooms very attentively. Your task is to figure out which of them belongs to a zombie. Well, both bathrooms look kinda disgusting, but a real zombie leaves on the left. Do you see that glass standing on the sink in the left room? The zombie keeps his fingers there. Ugh. We've got 3 Miss School contestants here. They look pretty and all, but one of them is actually dangerous. Which one is it? It's the girl in the pink dress. There's blood on her crown. Another day, another monster. Look at these people attentively and try to figure out which of them is a werewolf. The man on the left is just wearing a mask. It's quite obvious. The lady in the middle might have had some kind of an accident, hence the bizarre blue spots on her body. But the man on the right is literally covered with fur, which he is trying to hide with his clothes, but his true nature can still be spotted. A crazy scientist captured Mark and locked him in his lab to use the guy for his experiments. Luckily, the guy managed to get out of the lab, taking along 3 pills. Each of them worked for 10 seconds. The green pill could provide him with regeneration abilities. The red pill could allow him to become invisible. And the blue pill provided him with the ability to fly. To get out of there, Mark had to pass through 3 rooms. One was guarded by a vampire, the second one was protected by a werewolf, and the third one hosted a maniac with a chainsaw. Which pill should Mark take to pass through each room? Mark needs to take the invisibility pill to get past the vampire, the pill enabling him to fly to get past the werewolf, and the regeneration pill to escape the chainsaw. Simon was stuck at a gas station 50 miles away from the city. His car was broken and could be repaired only by the end of the day. Luckily, there were 3 drivers who were ready to offer him a ride to the city. Look at these people and try to understand which car is safe. The driver in the red car is actually a criminal. The police have been looking for the vehicle he's driving. It must have been stolen. The man in the yellow car must be a criminal too, since he is depicted on the wanted poster on the wall. Only that granny in the blue car is safe to ride with. Maria Walker, a rich businesswoman, collected ancient pieces of art. One day, she managed to buy a priceless Chinese figurine. Maria locked it in a safe in her office and went home. But the next morning, the figurine was gone. Police have 3 suspects, all of them Miss Walker's subordinates. The detective asked each of them if they'd taken the figurine from the safe. Beverly said she hadn't been to the office since Monday, Ralph said that he didn't even know how to open safes and wasn't interested in Chinese art. And Vincent admitted that he'd been to Miss Walker's office after her departure, but he only took some documents he needed. Have you understood who the thief was? It was Ralph. Otherwise, how would he know the figurine was Chinese? Mary was a college teacher. It was the beginning of a new school year and 3 new students joined the class. When Mary saw them, she immediately realized something was off about one of them. What did she notice? The guy in the middle doesn't have a shadow. Logan worked as a security officer on a small cruise ship. One day, during a severe storm, he found Mr. Lewis lying on the deck. When the man came to his senses, he said someone had hit him on the head and had taken his wallet. Logan had 3 suspects. He visited them in their cabins. Linda told him she was feeling queasy because of seasickness. She couldn't even get up from her bed. Denise said she'd been watching a movie on her smartphone. And Philip said he'd been writing a letter to his wife. Logan immediately understood who had hit Mr. Lewis. Do you know? It was Philip. Look at his letter. The handwriting is immaculate. But it's impossible to write so accurately during a storm. Look at these elderly ladies. Both of them have gone out for a walk. At first glance, they seem totally normal. But one of them is actually planning something bad. Can you figure out which granny it is? It's the granny on the right. She's got a file hidden in her knitting basket. Look at this explorer. He seems to be in a tough situation. There are 4 tunnels in front of him. The first one seems to be freezing cold, with some perilous-looking icicles hanging over the entrance. The second tunnel looks outright creepy. A giant shark is in the third tunnel, and the 4th pass is covered with molten lava. Where should our explorer go? He should opt for the first tunnel. Have you noticed a rather well-trodden track there? So this way can't be too dangerous. Kenneth was hungry. He found a nice diner that served burgers and bought one. After a waiter brought him his order, Kenneth went to the bathroom to wash his hands. But when he came back, his burger was gone. The guy looked around the diner and understood who had taken his lunch. Can you figure it out? It's this young woman. A dog is sitting at her feet and sniffing the air. If she was just drinking coffee, which is what she's pretending to do, the dog wouldn't be so interested in her.
Hey, let's see how smart you are. Ezra is in love with his new classmate named Amber. He asks her out. She agrees to go on a date with him under one condition. He has to figure out which one of these 7 pencil cases is hers. Can you help him out? Take a look at Amber's outfit. It's pretty obvious that she likes cats. So we can make a short list of cases with cat decorations. Also, Amber likes purple. Therefore, only this pencil case is a perfect match. Ezra and Amber are walking down the street and enjoying each other's company. But there's a criminal among these people. Can you spot who? It's this black hoodie guy inside the police car. Ezra wants to take Amber to his favorite spot in the park. But unfortunately, the main road is closed for repairs. They have to walk through this maze. Can you help them find the correct route? Here's the only way leading to the final destination. Ezra takes a couple of pictures of Amber. Can you find 5 differences between them? Feel free to stop the video if you need more time. Are you ready to see the answers? Here they are. Later that day, Ezra returns home. He wants to watch videos on his tablet. But unfortunately, his little brother pulled a prank and changed his password. Can you help Ezra figure out the new 4-digit code? Ezra's brother left this painting on the wall. It's a hint. All Ezra has to do is count the number of angles on each shape. So the answer is 3406. Ezra is watching his favorite travel blogger, Diego. This guy has a couple of million followers. This time, Diego goes into the uninhabited desert. He wants to find a very rare type of lizard. He reaches his final destination, posts several photos, and goes to sleep. After this post, thousands of people, including Ezra, unsubscribe from Diego. Why? Take a look at the third photo. See this sign? There's a hotel nearby. So Diego lied. He's not in the uninhabited desert. Amber wakes up in the middle of the night because she hears someone crying and moaning. She turns on the nightlight. There's a creepy ghost standing in front of her bed. But soon Amber realizes that the ghost isn't real. How did she know? Look at the floor. This ghost has a shadow, so it can't be real. The next morning, Amber enters the class and sees a bunch of beautiful flowers at her desk. She finds a love note on the bouquet. The flowers are from a secret admirer. Amber wants to know who sent them, so she questions 3 suspects. Ezra says that he's allergic to lilies. Harry says he's in love with another lady. It makes no sense for him to send any gifts to Amber. And Bob says he was the first to arrive at the class today. The flowers were already on Amber's desk. Who's the secret admirer? Take a look at Harry's desk. There's a notebook with the exact same purple paper as the love note. Gotcha. After classes, Ezra and Amber go to the local coffee shop. They take a seat and look around. They see a guy and a lady competing in arm wrestling. Who has more chances to win? Take a look at the lady's neck. It has a USB port. She's a robot. Therefore, she's gonna win. Ezra returns home and finds out that his father, Aaron, is missing. Aaron is a genius scientist and businessman. He's been receiving many threats recently. So Ezra calls the police right away. The officer questions Aaron's 3 major rivals. Alex says he left the business many years ago. He lives a humble life in the village. Chris says his business is much more successful than Aaron's. Why would he kidnap him? And Mike says he hasn't seen Aaron for many years, and they don't have any joint ventures. One of these guys is involved in Aaron's disappearance. Can you guess who? Take a look at the fridge. Aaron left a hint. If we use the letters encoded in this message, we'll get the name Mike. Meanwhile, Aaron wakes up in a creepy dungeon. His kidnappers ask him to create a potion that can shrink people tenfold. Aaron doesn't want to help them. Luckily, he has 2 pills in his pocket. The first one makes you invisible, and the second one makes you 10 times bigger. Aaron doesn't know which pill is which. Can you come up with an escape plan? Aaron is sitting here all alone. He has no one to test the pills on. So it's better to create the shrinking pills for the kidnappers. Then eat one of his own pills. If he grows 10 times, he can just use the new pills to return to his actual size. But if he turns invisible, he can escape with the shrinking pills. Well, Aaron escapes from the kidnappers and runs to the nearest subway. Can you spot a criminal in this location? Hello? Aaron gets on a busy train and goes to the police station. One of these passengers is a wizard. Can you spot who? It's this lady. Her feet don't touch the floor. She's flying. Aaron is walking towards the police station, but suddenly he falls into a pit. He ends up getting trapped in a dungeon. Soon, Aaron finds 3 doors. Behind the first door, there's a mirror labyrinth. It drives every man who dares to spend more than 5 minutes there crazy. There's a hungry wolf behind the second door. He loves feasting on humans. And behind the third door, there's a huge tank with sharks. If Aaron steps in, he'll fall into the tank. What should he do to survive? Aaron should open the third door, then open the second door and let the wolf out. And finally, quickly hide behind the first door and close his eyes. The wolf would start looking for Aaron behind the second door and fall into the tank with sharks. Then Aaron will be free to escape through the second door. Finally, Aaron is home. Ezra prepares him a welcome chocolate cake. He puts it on the table and leaves the kitchen for a moment. Then he returns and finds out that the cake is ruined. Ezra questions the 2 people who are in the house. His brother says that he's been playing video games in the living room. He didn't enter the kitchen. And Aaron says he's been taking a shower. Who ruined the cake? Neither brother nor father. The window in the kitchen is open, and there's a bird covered in chocolate on the tree. It was the bird. Aaron builds a robot that can do all the housework and calls it Meg. One day, Aaron comes home from work and finds out that his robot is missing. He's looking for it everywhere, and finally finds a dungeon. He goes there hoping to find his robot. But instead, he finds 5 robots looking exactly the same as his. He only has 1 try to pick the right robot. Can you help Aaron? Some robots have badges, some do not, but only this one has the name Meg. The next day, Aaron enters his office and finds one of his best employees, Stan, lying on the floor in one of the rooms. Someone had hit him on the head. The police question the workers and find 3 suspects. Maya, the office assistant, says she had a couple of days off and spent them sunbathing on the beach. Rob, the manager, tells the police that his friend had called him to ask for help. That's why he left the office before Stan came to work. Lily, Stan's girlfriend, says they had quarreled earlier that day, but after that, she didn't see him. The police officers understand right away who's lying. What about you? Maya said she spent several days on the beach, but her skin is super pale. Uh-oh, busted.